Hello students, welcome to the video session of class 10th Science Chapter 2 Life Processes. Let us have a quick look on the learning objectives of this video session. So in this video session we are going to cover the following topics: respiration in humans, structure of the respiratory organs, lungs and alveoli, mechanism of breathing, and the steps of inhalation and exhalation. So let's start with the first slide, that is the human respiratory system. Now, what is human respiratory system? Let us first discuss this. Human respiratory system consists of a passage or a way for the fresh air to come inside and for the foul air to go outside. Okay, so here in the picture you can see here that this is the passage, complete passage, which starts from the nose and it is extending towards the chest cavity in the form of trachea. So this is the complete passage or the path, you can say, or way from where the fresh air comes inside and the foul air, which consists of CO2, goes out of the body. Now this passage includes external nostrils. Students, we have a single nose and the two openings of the nose are called the nostrils. So this passage includes external nostrils, then the nasal cavities. Nasal cavities means the nasal area, the nasal space, or you can say the nasal chamber which is present. That is called the nasal cavity. Then the next respiratory organ is the pharynx. Pharynx is included in the human digestive system also. Okay? It's a part of both the systems. Then larynx, larynx which is the voice box, and trachea. Okay? Trachea, which is also known as the windpipe. Now respiratory system also includes a pair of lungs. The main respiratory organs in humans are the lungs, which provide the surface for the exchange of gases. The oxygen which is coming inside and the CO2 which is going outside. These gases are exchanged in the blood in the lungs itself. So lungs are the place where the exchange of gases takes place. Now let's study it in detail. Now structure of human respiratory system and the complete mechanism. Now the air enters through the nostrils. Okay, we have two nostrils, so both the nostrils will take the air inside and reaches into a pair of nasal cavities. Now when the air will enter through the nostrils, it will come in the nasal area, the space which is inside the nose. Okay, so the air reaches into a pair of nasal cavities. We have two nasal cavities, that's why it is called a pair of nasal cavities. Now nasal cavities are separated from the oral cavity. Okay, students, I hope you have remembered what is oral cavity. Oral cavity means the buccal cavity, the mouth area where we keep the food inside. So you can say here in the diagram that the nasal cavities are separated from the oral cavity by a bony pellet. Okay, it is labeled here hard pellet. We have a hard pellet at the roof of the mouth cavity. Okay, so nasal cavities are separated from the oral cavity by a bony palate. Bony palate means this hard cover which is made up of bone. And the two nasal cavities are also separated from each other by a nasal septum. The separation present between the two nasal cavities is known as the nasal septum. It is dividing the nasal chamber into two parts. Then the nasal cavities are lined by columnar epithelium cells. Means the nose, the inner lining of the nose is made up of columnar epithelium cells and the gland cells to keep the inspired air warm, moistened and dust free. So inside the nasal chambers, the gland cells which are present, they will secrete mucus. Okay? They will secrete mucus which keeps the air warm, moistened, which adds moisture to the air which is coming inside, and the hairs which are present inside the nasal chambers, they will filter the air. Okay? Hence the air which is going inside will become dust free also. All the dust particles will be trapped on the hairs which are present in the nasal chambers. Okay? Dust particles are entrapped in the mucus secreted by the mucus glands, and then the nasal chambers open into pharynx through the internal nares. Okay? So after the nasal chambers, the air will then enter into the next respiratory organ, that is the pharynx. through the openings which are called the internal nares. Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide and see what is pharynx. So if you see the diagram here, you can see pharynx here. Okay. It is labeled here pharynx. Now this pharynx is a common space of the respiratory system as well as the human digestive system. It includes it. It is present in both the systems. So what is it? Let's discuss first. Pharynx is a short vertical tube. It's a very short vertical tube which is located in the head at the back of buccal cavity. It is present just at the back side of the buccal cavity. And you can see here the nasal passage, the passage of the air is also coming and combining here. Okay. So it is the common place where nasal chambers and the oral cavity meets. Right? So it provides passage into which the internal nares and buccal cavity both open to pass the air into it. Okay, and that's why we can take the breath with the nose as well as with the mouth, because both the passages open into a common place which is called the pharynx, a common organ which is called the pharynx. Okay, now here you can see in the diagram that from the pharynx these two get separated. The food pipe gets separated and the windpipe also gets separated. Okay, so pharynx provide a passage into the trachea. Okay, one of the tube will open into the trachea part and one path will go towards the food pipe. Okay, so there are two ways, two separate tubes from the pharynx. Two ways are separated. Okay. Now, the pharynx provides a passage into trachea through a slit like a partial called glottis. Here you can see the glottis. Means after pharynx, the opening of the pharynx towards the windpipe is, this opening here is called glottis. Okay. This part is called glottis. Glottis combines the pharynx with the trachea. Okay. Now you can see here one more flap-like structure which is called epiglottis. Okay. So this epiglottis is the cover of the glottis. So glottis always remains open. This glottis area always remain open except during swallowing. This you have to remember. Why it is closed during swallowing? Okay. Now you can see here that pharynx is the common part. So whenever food is swallowed, okay, now the food has two pathways to go. Food can go in the food pipe also, and the food can also go into the esophagus. Sorry, food pipe as well as in the windpipe or the trachea. So the epiglottis, this flap which is present, this covers the glottis when the food is swallowed, so that the windpipe gets closed and the food should not go into the trachea. Okay? If the food enters the windpipe, then the person can die. It can be fatal because it blocks the windpipe and no more respiration can occur. So during swallowing of the food, this epiglottis, which is a flap made up of membrane, covers the glottis part and the windpipe or the trachea gets covered so that the food cannot enter the trachea. Okay. So the glottis always remain open except during swallowing. At the time of swallowing, the glottis get covered with the help of epiglottis. So glottis bears a cartilaginous flap. This flap is made up of cartilage called epiglottis. Now during swallowing, the epiglottis closes the glottis to check the entry of food into it. Okay, I hope this is clear to you all. Now let's move on to the next slide. Now let us see the structure of trachea. Trachea, in the diagram here you can see, okay, this is glottis, epiglottis, and then one of the pipe goes into the chest region, which is the windpipe, and also known as trachea. So trachea is a thin walled tube. Okay, it's a tube like structure, but its walls are very thin, and this tube like structure extends downwards in the chest region. Okay. Now one major bronchus enters this trachea, moves downside, and when it reaches to the lungs, this trachea divides into two parts, and each part is known as bronchus. Okay, this bronchus is a singular word, and these two together will be called as bronchi. Here you can see primary bronchi. Okay, and bronchus is the singular word. So trachea, after reaching the chest region, it divides into two main tubes, and those two main tubes are called as bronchi, and the single one is called bronchus. Okay, so one of the bronchus will enter the right lung and the other will enter the left lung. Right? Now after dividing of the trachea, one bronchi will go to the one lung and the other bronchus will go to another lung. Now trachea, which is also called the windpipe, has cartilaginous rings. You can see here the structure of trachea. There are some ring-like structures present here. Okay, so these rings are made up of cartilage. And what is the function of these rings? These rings prevent the trachea from collapsing. Okay, in between the breath, if there is less air in the trachea, then the trachea can collapse. It can shrink. Okay, it can damage. So these cartilaginous rings will do not allow the trachea to collapse. Okay, so this is a give reason question. Why cartilaginous rings are present in trachea, or why the trachea do not collapse in between breaths when there is less air. So what is the reason here? That whenever there is less air, these cartilaginous rings which are present, they prevent the trachea from collapsing. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and see now what happens when each bronchus enters the lungs. Okay, so in human beings, the main respiratory organs are the lungs. You can see here two lungs, and what is the shape of the lungs? These two lungs are located in the chest region, which is also called the thoracic region. Now each individual has a pair of lungs. Every individual has two lungs that lie in the thoracic cavity, okay, on the sides of the heart. Okay. Both the lungs are present on each side of the heart. Heart is present in between. The thoracic cavity is separated from the abdominal cavity. Thoracic cavity means the chest region is separated from the abdomen cavity. Abdomen means the stomach area. So chest region is separated from the stomach area by a muscular partition. A muscular lining is present, which is called diaphragm. This diaphragm is very important part, a very important organ in respiration. It plays a very important role while inhaling and exhaling the air. Okay. So it's a muscular partition. This is called diaphragm. Within the lungs, the major bronchus, now trachea on dividing into two, now each one enters into each lung. So within the lungs, the major bronchi further divides into secondary bronchi. You can see here that this main bronchus, it get divided into secondary bronchi. This is primary bronchi and this get divided into secondary bronchi. These secondary bronchi also divide into many small tertiary bronchi, right? And these tertiary also get divided into further small tube-like structures which are called bronchioles. Here you can see bronchioles. Okay. Now each bronchiole will further divide into alveolar ducts. These bronchioles will also divide into very small tube-like structures which are called alveolar ducts, and these alveolar ducts ends into a sac-like structure, a balloon-like structure which is called alveoli. Okay, you can see here the alveoli. These are the alveoli parts. Okay, so primary bronchus divides into secondary bronchi divides into tertiary bronchi, and finally into bronchioles, and these bronchioles then further divide into alveolar ducts, and alveolar ducts end into balloon like structures which are called alveoli. Okay, hope this is clear. Now let's move on to the next one. What are alveoli now? So these alveoli, those balloon like structures present in the lungs, they are called the alveoli. Now these alveoli have some special characteristics. Alveoli are very thin walled. First of all is the walls are very thin, and the cells are made up of simple non-ciliated squamous epithelium. Then it is closely surrounded by a network of blood capillaries, because alveoli is the main place where exchange of gases takes place. So alveoli has a rich supply of blood capillaries, because blood is the circulatory organ which will take the oxygen and which gives back the CO2. Okay. So alveoli have sac-like structure to increase the surface area. Why the structure is balloon-like? So balloon-like structure will increase the surface area for the exchange of gases. Okay. Then alveoli are the main sites where exchange of gas takes place. So the questions come in exam. What are alveoli and what are the main characteristics present in alveoli which makes them the suitable place for exchange of gases? Okay, so what characteristics you have to write? First one is they have thin walls, they have a rich supply of blood capillaries, and they have balloon-like structures to increase the surface area. Okay, then let's see the next concept now. Now, blood is of red color, we all know. So, the pigment hemoglobin is present in the RBCs of blood. Okay, in blood, RBCs, red blood cells are present, and these red blood cells have a pigment, red color pigment present in them, which gives them the red color, and that is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is very important respiratory pigment. This is the respiratory pigment in our body. Okay. It combines with oxygen. What the hemoglobin does, it combines with oxygen. When blood absorbs the oxygen, so oxygen will combine with hemoglobin. And it forms a compound which is called oxyhemoglobin. Okay. And this oxyhemoglobin will move towards the cells to take the oxygen to each and every cell of the body. Fine. Now let's move on to the next slide and see what is voice box. Voice box, that is larynx. Okay. So in between trachea and pharynx, there is another organ, respiratory organ, which is called larynx or voice box. So voice box is also called larynx. In males, if you see the diagram here, you can see this protruding part. In males, this protruding part is generally seen in males. So in males, this voice box or larynx become prominent and it protrudes outside. Protrudes outside means it pushes outside. And this protruding part is called Adam's apple. Right? And inside this voice box or inside this larynx, there are two vocal cords. And these two vocal cords are made up of folds of mucous membrane. Those two vocal cords are made of mucous membrane. Okay. And then vibration in the vocal cords. Now, how sound is produced? How we are able to speak? Okay. So vibration in the vocal cords result in the production of sound. When these vocal cords vibrate at their place, they produce sound which is altered and converted into speech with the help of buccal cavity. When that vibrations of the vocal cords come in the buccal cavity along with teeth and tongue convert that sound into speech and we are able to speak the words. Okay. So this voice box or larynx is very important part of our body as it helps us in speaking. Okay, this Adam's apple, this protruding part of the voice box is only seen in males. In females, this part is not protruding, but voice box is present in both males as well as females. Right? Now let's move on to the next one and see mechanism of breathing. How breathing occurs? Okay, so we have discussed before that what is breathing. Breathing is nothing but simply the inhalation of oxygen and the exhalation of CO2. Right? So let us see how this occurs. What is the mechanism behind? Now, the contraction and expansion of lungs is brought about by diaphragm muscles. Okay, when air is coming in or when the air is going outside, you can feel that the lungs are also contracting and expanding. Continuously, rhythmically, they are contracting and expanding. And that contraction and expansion of lungs is brought about by the diaphragm muscles. Diaphragm, which divides the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. Okay, it's a muscular partition between both the cavities, thoracic and abdomen. So the intake of fresh air into the lungs is called inhalation. Okay, and elimination of the foul air outside is called exhalation. So let us see the steps of inhalation and exhalation. How inhalation occur? There are some small steps which can make you understand how it happens. Fine. So let us see first the steps of inhalation. In the diagram also you can see here. So in inhalation, first step is diaphragm relaxes. You can see here in the diagram that the arrow is shown downside. This diaphragm, which is a muscular partition, moves down, means it expands, it relaxes first. Okay. So when it relaxes, along with this, the lungs also expand because when it moves down, lungs also get space to move down. So lungs also get expanded. When the lungs get expand, volume increases inside the lungs. Okay, and lungs will expand, relax. Then the space or the volume inside the lungs will also increase. Okay, when the volume will increase inside the lungs, naturally the air pressure will decrease because volume and pressure are opposite to each other. If volume increases, pressure decreases. So air pressure will decrease and hence now the air pressure inside is less and the air pressure outside the body is more. So what will happen now? Air will move from high pressure to low pressure. So what will happen? Inside the air pressure is less and outside the air pressure is more. So air will move inside the body. You can see here the arrow that the air is coming in. Fine. And these arrows shows that the lungs are expanding. Right. This is how the inhalation takes place. Okay. Now let us see again the steps of exhalation. What happens in exhalation? So just opposite of inhalation. Now what will happen? In inhalation the diaphragm relaxes. So here in exhalation what will happen? The diaphragm contracts. Fine, let us explain with the diagram. So here what will happen? The diaphragm contracts. Diaphragm contracts means it will move upside. When it moves upside, lungs also get shrink, contract. And when the lungs contract, what will happen? The volume will decrease. Volume decrease, then pressure will increase. Air pressure will increase. And now the air pressure inside is more and outside is less. So air will move from inside to outside. And this is the mechanism for exhalation. This is the way how the air goes outside. Fine. I hope this is clear to all. Then let us read these important notes here. Then an average rate of breathing in a normal adult. Average rate of breathing. How many times we breathe per minute? So this is 1.5 to 1.8 times. Sorry, it is 15 to 18 times per minute. Okay. Then the rate of breathing increases at the time of exercise. Why the rate of breathing increases at the time of exercise? Because there is more demand of oxygen. When we exercise, we need more oxygen, and that's why the breathing rate increases. Right? So, and in a normal adult man, the average rate of breathing is 15 to 18. Sorry, I think it's a point written here, but it's not correct. It's 15 to 18 times per minute. Okay. Now, let's see what we have learned in today's video session. So let us recap and summarize. So today we have seen the human respiratory system, then the respiratory organs, lungs and alveoli, what is the function of alveoli, then what is the mechanism of breathing, mechanism of inhalation and exhalation, and the steps involved in inhalation and exhalation. Fine. So that's all for today's video session. Stay home, stay safe, and let's meet in the next video session.